I'm experimenting with grid areas a lot. I really want to see, how grid areas might help tackle this. You essentially name your areas. Every name that you write down is going to be a column, essentially. So there's newsletter slot, nav slot. We have our little 3-column layout.
All right, everyone, we are back here. Christian is back in the building. We got Kevin here as well. Back from the dead, back from wherever he was when the last time me and Kevin filmed one of these without him. But we made some good progress in the last one. We're excited to make some more progress here. And yeah, we can just kind of go over a little bit of a recap. I mean, we worked a little bit more on the homepage here, tidied a couple different things up, worked on the beautiful little bento grid thing here that has came together quite nicely. And we're going to tackle the footer and a little bit of the archive template today, see what we can do in the time that we have. Kevin, appreciate you coming back for another round.
Happy to be here.
And we could just dive right into it. What do you think we got to run through next here? What are you thinking?
I think we're going to tackle this footer situation and see how we do. We've already got the template, I think, for it. We just, we got, this part up here and, we won't do the form yet. We'll pop the rest of it in. And I'm thinking just placeholder content for right now. So we'll go in, edit with etch. We will go to templates. We will go to index. And here is our footer. We will edit this component. So we're going to be working inside of here. And let's just recap and refresh because I got to look at it. It's been a long time since we did this. So just essentially have like a meta row down at the bottom with this container. So I'm just going to pop in a new container. And we will move that up, and this is going to be the main. We'll just call that part of the footer. Okay. Let's go check our design. This is what I want to do. Probably is I'm experimenting with grid areas a lot, and I really want to see how grid areas might help tackle this. So just to explain to everybody, I can't really type on the screen very well. I guess we can do it down here. So. If we did grid areas for this, we think about this. This is going to be newsletter. So you essentially name your areas, okay? So we're going to have, and every name that you write down, like if I write newsletter, is going to be a column, essentially. And I'm looking here that, this is probably just 3 columns is going to get this done. So that would look like newsletter, newsletter, newsletter. And then down a row would be the start of, we had another row here. This would be the nav, right? So nav. And then, so newsletter, this 3rd column would be whatever this is, CTA. Actually, we'll call that a slot because I think this is a component. We're going to probably make this a slot and just drop a card or whatever somebody wants to drop in for that slot. So newsletter slot, nav slot. So this is obviously nav slot. And then we'll see if we need like another row to kind of, because if you notice this isn't perfectly even, like this top row and this kind of would more comprise of like 2 rows. But we'll see. But this will be the start of our grid areas. And like I said, experimenting a lot with these lately. We'll see if it works out. So let's go footer main. Display of grid, and then we're going to go grid template columns. You still want to declare the number of columns. We're going to do rows as well. We're just going to put we'll do repeat. We'll do 1FR for right now. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. Grid template areas is what we want next. And then you have to put these in quotes. And I like to do them on separate lines like this, okay? So there's newsletter slot. And then we're going to do nav slot. And that should allow us to now just take an element, and we're going to use wrappers to start out with. So we're going to have one wrapper for this newsletter block. We're going to have a wrapper for our slot, and we're going to have a wrapper for the nav. Okay, so let's go back in, and you could actually do this one of 2 ways. I'll just do it with blocks up here. So we'll just do flex div. There's 3. Call this newsletter. Call this nav. While we're here, let's go ahead and make it a nav. And call this slot. Okay. I'm just going to put slot temp on here. Background of red. I just want a red box, essentially. Min height of 200 pixels. Okay. Just so we can see something visibly and make sure it's going into its correct slot. Okay. Then we have a nav. We'll call this footer nav. And then this will be footer newsletter. Okay. All right. So right now that nav is there. That slot is there. We have a simple 3-column situation going on. So if I say this is going to be grid area of newsletter, and this is going to be a grid area of nav, and this is going to be a grid area of slot, we have our little 3-column layout. All right, we're going to go in here and we're going to go with a gap. Let's do a content gap. Fantastic. Okay. And then this newsletter background of, I don't know, something like base. What are we using here? Oh, base. All right, base light trans 10, it looks like. Let's use a color mix. In lab, in sRGB, doesn't really matter for transparencies. Base light, and then transparent, and we want only 10% of the actual color. Probably going to use this same background line down here for our nav. That's good. And we're going to do our border radius of radius. Probably same thing here. We actually, I didn't update it. We have emit in CSS now, and I'm going to start experimenting with that because you can essentially type like BR and then hit tab and it'll write border radius for you. You can do that for pretty much all the properties, which speeds things up a lot there. Okay, let's put a gap between these things. So let's go a gap of container gap. That looks good. Okay, and then there's our slot, which essentially we're going to just clear this out in a minute. Okay, let's put in a couple of the things that are supposed to go in this little footer box. So it's a weekly newsletter and then a list with some icons. All right, so we got to be careful here about semantics. Let's go back. So I know this is like the size of an H2 and these are the size of an H3, but this can't be an H2 because it as a section heading, like that's the H2 is supposed to be a section heading. This is not a weekly newsletter section. Like this is the footer, right? And so all of these should really be H3. We can make this the size of an H2 to match the design, but really this is H3, 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 and we're gonna have a hidden H2 that essentially says footer. So let's go ahead and throw that in. So I'm just gonna throw let's put it here. Okay, and let's make sure it is the first thing. All right, so there's our heading, footer, and we're essentially going to say this is hidden, accessible, and now it's gone. But now semantically, we have an H2 in there. Everything else that we do is going to be an H3. So I'm going to put this in H3, and let's put in our, I really prefer to use emit for this. So we want an unordered list of list items, and we'll say item number, item 1. So that will do that. Let's see if we want footer newsletter. Let's do footer newsletter list. Footer newsletter list. Footer newsletter list, and then footer newsletter list item, or we'll just say item. Okay, and then we want the item number, but we want that to be in a span, and we probably want another span adjacent to that with an icon in it. Boom, like that. Okay, I think that's probably what we want. Okay. It's just a little bit easier than like building that out with blocks. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're going to say that this is the icon, which actually I'll just switch now. Now that we actually have the structure, it's easy to drop an icon in there. All right, so this is going to be the icon, and this is going to be the label. Okay, so we have the newsletter list, newsletter item. This will be footer newsletter item label, footer newsletter item icon. Okay. It's debatable whether this is like a global block that we probably could have just BEM'd at the block level, just called it some sort of like opt-in block or something. But I haven't seen it used anywhere else. So, I mean, if we need to do that at some point, we can just rename these and extract it and be done with it. But for right now, it seems like this is going to work out. All right, so this newsletter item, let's go ahead and display flex, align items to the center. Let's do flex shrink of 0 on all the children. And let's gap it with just a simple 0.5 em for now. Let's take the icon and inline size of 1 em. Perfect. Okay. And let's take the newsletter itself, padding of card padding. And we can do that here on the nav as well. Okay. These are essentially like cards. Okay. What if we duplicate the items? There we go. So now we see we have 3 items in the list, and now we can see the structure good enough to display this as flex. Flex direction of row, just make it explicit. Gap of content gap. And justify content space between, maybe. We'll see if that's what we actually want in just a minute when these, well, let's look here. Because how did he, okay, that's not what he did. He just left it left aligned. Okay, so we'll leave it left aligned. All right, do we have a check mark icon at all, Mark Szymanski? Have you put that in yet by chance?
Should all be in there. If they were in the Figma, they should be in there.
That's right. All right, so check.
Maybe not.
Check. I don't see a check. All right.
Okay,
drop that in. Drop that in while I keep going, and I'll swap it out in just a second. All right. Join our newsletter. Okay. And this is going to be the newsletter heading. And then all we're going to do is font size of H2 on here. Perfect. All right. So it's an H3 that looks like an H2. Inside of our nav, this we're going to have to dissect a little bit. Okay. So we're going to need an unordered list. And you essentially are going to have 3 list items. Every column is a list item. Inside of that, we're going to have a heading. Yeah, a heading and an unordered list, like a nested list. So let's try this. We have to think through it in our head exactly the same way we would write it in Emmet. So that's essentially what I'm going to try to do. And I'll zoom in for everybody that always says the typing is too small. Okay, so we've got our nav. We're going to start with an unordered list. And we're going to have a list item inside of that. And then inside of that, we are going to have our H3. And that's going to say column. And then inside of that, we're going to have a UL. And inside of that, we're going to have LIs. And I'm going to look at this structure here. Item, and actually LIA to go inside there. This href can equal pound. Okay, and I'm thinking that's the proper structure. ULLI H3 ULLI. I think we're good there. So let's expand. And then if you're ever unsure or you just want to double check, all right, we can pop dia out. And let's go here. Oops. Is this the correct nav structure for a nested nav? Okay. All right. Heading shouldn't wrap lists, and nav's immediate children should be grouped sections. Okay, hold on. What are they talking about here? Section ULL nav div section. What are you talking about? Are you sure about that? H3 wrapping H3 wrapping okay. That's why. There we go. Okay. Sorry, that was a typo. Try this. Okay, you have a UL with an LI that contains an H3. You have a UL that contains an LI with an H3. Pretty sure ULLIH. You don't have to. I've never seen anybody use sections. It's ridiculous. Okay, we'll check it again in a minute. We can always change it later. I'm pretty sure it's fine though. Okay, so this is gonna be list. This is gonna be item. This is gonna be heading. This is gonna be sublist. Sub item. Actually, we can keep this with item. And this is gonna be link. I'm actually not going to put like BEM and classes on all this stuff. So we have footer nav. This is going to be the footer nav list. Okay. And then items sublist. Footer nav sublist. There we go. I just want the bullets to go away. When I put classes on lists, it automatically cancels out the bullets and all that, on all the nonsense spacing and all that stuff. Okay, so nav, footer nav. I'm just going to style the links from here. Color is text light muted. Okay, and we'll just hover these of color text light. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go to item. We could probably gap that. All right, so let's come down. Actually ULs. Let's do a gap of 1M. Did I call this footer nav down here?
I think you did. Yeah, I think you did in the last one.
I did. Yep. Okay. That's actually not nav though. Let's see. Well, it's a nav, but it's not the footer nav. So that was a mistake back then. All right, gap UL. Look at this. I mean, did all the same exact damn things. Okay. Footer legal nav. How about that? And let's go. Let's just take this background grid area. I don't want that to be grid area. Okay. Background color mix, border radius, padding. That's okay. That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's just the colors. Okay, safe. All right. Problem. Crisis averted. All right, so footer nav list. Flex 1 to make that grow. All right. UL. I can do this from up here probably. UL. Display of flex direction of column. By the way, if we do at column, that's at columns. I'm working on getting these recipes to. We're gonna start having these kind of like a preview of. Boom. All right, so those will be little shortcuts to getting some of those things that we type over and over and over and over and over again in here. And I've got some other UI stuff that's going to be associated with this panel to where you can just click. It's going to be like a style panel, but not a style panel, and not have the downsides of a style panel. But I can't reveal any of those details yet. All right, so we've got item, heading. Okay, so yeah, the item as well. So let's go LI. And let's say display. Well, let's try it again. So column.
I think it's flex column.
Yeah. No. Well, it's both because it's autocomplete. It's like, which one am I choosing? See, it looked like I was highlighting the other one, but I guess I wasn't. All right, that will put those apart. Let's take this item and duplicate. I'm just going to have these be dummies for right now. Let's go with.
So, quick question on this grid area thing. So, do you think from what we're looking at here, you're going to be able to have? Is it always equal, like heights of the grid area, or can you just control it with CSS? Or you see, because I know we're going to eventually get to that, but is that how it's supposed to work, where it is all equal, or can you manage them independently?
Well, we can add a row. And we can essentially add to the grid areas down here where I say nav slot. Yeah. And now it's not equal anymore.
Right. See, but that's how you have to do it with grid areas.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But it's better than doing, because what I would have had to do differently is change this to 3 columns and then go to each thing and say, span 2 or start on 2, go to the end, or like you got to do all these starts and spans and all that nonsense. With grid areas, you essentially are just like, I'm just going to go here, nav slot. And it keeps the exact same layout, but it gives you another row.
Yeah. It's cool.
And then by the nature of you giving them names, it's stretching them automatically.
Nice.
Yeah. Sweet. And now it'll just adapt. So when I put in the form eventually, it's going to keep the same ratio, obviously. Like it'll grow, but it'll keep the same ratio.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So UL list nav list item. Yeah. So if I duplicated this and duplicated this, we may need to go, I don't know. We'll see why that's growing in a minute. It's because I did flex, maybe. Flex 1 somewhere. Make it grow. I don't know. We'll check that out in a minute. So let's just do 3 columns here. Footer list. Let's display this as a grid. Grid template columns. Grid 3. Hold on, I feel like this is affecting something else. Did we use the list thing too down here?
Probably did.
Yeah, we probably did. Okay. We're going to do this later. Let's take off where's the meta? Okay, footer meta, there's a nav. Yeah, footer legal. Okay. Footer legal nav list. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's an easy fix. Display flex. Flex direction row and width of 100% or something. What is it doing? Loop list nav ul list footer. Spell correctly. Okay. This should be footer nav list. Grid 3. Okay. Let's look at the structure. Where are we at? All right. So li. Yeah. I feel like display grid. We don't need that anymore. Grid template columns var grid 3. All right. Let's check this out on the front end. Got to go investigate. Okay. Inspect. ul. Li. There's the UL. Flex direction column. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Nav UL Li right here. Good. Okay. Let's go to the list and sublist. Okay, content gap divided by 2. And this is probably display list item by default. So we're going to have to say display flex direction of column. Okay, now we're getting back to somewhere good. All right, let's go to the Figma real quick. You guys don't have a company page. You don't, do we know what menu we're actually putting here?
No idea.
Okay.
We can handle that part.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking, you probably want to loop it, maybe, perhaps, or at least loop parts of it. So we'll have to, I guess, just get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
All right.
So can I ask another question about the grid areas though? So can you go back to the Figma for a second?
Yes.
So in Nick's design here, if we look at the top, like the weekly newsletter section, and then we look at where the nav is. To me, without measuring, it looks like the bottom section is about like 1.5 times bigger than the top one. So how do you do that in a grid? I mean, I'm not saying we need to be pixel perfect here, but I'm saying like if you were trying to be, it seems like you have to kind of get like a little weird with the ratios of the actual the areas.
You should be able to let's see, grid template rows. So one so if it was 1.5 times.
I don't even know if it is. I maybe it was more just like kind of like a scaling thing and an eyeballing thing that.
Well, you can do technically 1.5 FR, but that actually might break it. No, it won't. Okay. Now I put a flex div placeholder in here for the form. But this technically should be what you just requested, which is essentially the second one is 1.5 instead of 1. Because you can this is valid.
Gotcha. Okay.
So instead of doing a third row that they stretch across, we just remove the third row and make the second row 1.5.
To be honest, this like looking at it kind of seems like it makes more sense too, because there really is only 2 rows. The second one is just larger.
Like, I feel like true. Yes, correct. I mean, you could do it either way. Yeah. It used to be done with spans before the days of grid areas, right? And also, I believe, I don't know that fractional, like the actual decimal values were always valid in grid. I think maybe that's kind of advanced over the years. So I don't know, but yeah, this gets the job done.
Cool.
Check marks. Do we have those?
Hopefully.
Yes, we do.
Hopefully it's usable.
Okay, let's put that in. Let's strip the color attribute. And instead of doing that 3 times in a row, I'm just going to delete those and duplicate it 2 more times. What content did he put in? Okay, readers every week, benefit 2, benefit 3. All right, paste that. Benefit 2. And then what I like to do here is, I mean, we need to see what happens if too much content gets put in. Because if you don't check it, shit like this happens. So we're going to have to come down and say flex wrap of wrap. That's going to allow those to wrap. This is, let's see where we're at with this gap, 0.5 M. This align items to the, no, that's correct, center. Wonder if we need to justify. This should be the justify content to start.
I think you have some crazy shit going on, like when you pasted that in, because I think it got like a bunch of JSON, like almost like block data instead of just a text.
Yeah, and I'm wondering into the span. Is it only that one? I feel like this one is fine.
Yeah, I think if you just copy the text again and just replace that, it might work.
How about we just don't copy the text? How about we just duplicate?
Easier. I like that.
All right, so gap of content gap. I'm going to say row gap of content gap divided by 2. So make the row. If it does ever hit a second row, the gap won't be so aggressive. That's our placeholder for our form. We'll just call this a form wrapper, actually. We're going to need that when we get to the form spot. And that's going to be called footer newsletter form wrapper.
I don't really want to go. We don't necessarily have to go into this right now, but I'm going to ask the question anyway, because it's what I do. Well, first of all, the form is under the benefits in the design, so just a quick little switch of the elements. But the other thing is, right now, like if you're using like WS form, like you have to use a pass-through still, correct? In Etch?
Correct, yep.
So you put it in Gutenberg, and then okay, then it shows up here. Gotcha.
Yeah, it'll just be, you just edit the synced because this footer is going to be a synced pattern in Gutenberg, and you just edit that synced pattern, pop it in, and hit save and move on with your life.
Cool.
It'll still be styled inside of Etch. It's just it'll get.
So you can come into Etch, click on the pass through, and then add like a form dark or a form light style right there. You add the form light or form dark in Gutenberg when you add the form, or you can opt to not do that, and you can add it to the wrapper here. You can't add it to the block, but you can add it to a wrapper. Okay. All right. I was having trouble with that on a different project, so that's good to know. Cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a min height for right now of 40 pixels. Okay. Base light. Let's do base dark so it doesn't look so egregiously ugly while it sits there. Refresh. Okay. So let's handle the slot situation, and then we will be good to move on for now, since all that stuff is placeholder stuff anyway. All right. So div slot.
Now, real quick, is this a real slot, or did you just write slot in there?
Right now, I just wrote slot. Yeah, okay. Right now I just wrote slot. But what I am going to do is go footer slot, and we're gonna do that now. Is our footer going to have other slots? I mean, probably not, because you're thinking about naming now. Like maybe I do main slot instead of just slot. Like I think I'm going to do that just for more flexibility. So we'll do main slot. And we're going to go back to the grid area of slot. And then what I'm going to do is put an actual slot in it. So you can do that from the props, right? And I'll do main slot like this. Okay, and what that's going to give us is essentially a drop zone for putting things in right here. So when I exit the component, I can now click here, and I can change this to main slot. Okay, and then I can drop in a heading or something like that. I think we're having some rendering stuff. Let's refresh and see. Slot, main slot, heading, insert your heading here. All right, let's take a look. Edit component, footer, div container. That's main slot. Oh, it didn't save my name. Main slot. Save. Okay, let's go out and make sure. There we go. So now we can put in whatever we want. So if you want to have a CTA, and we can put a CTA, I think we call those profile cards or something, or maybe media card, I don't know. But like now we can put that in. And we can decide as well here, like I would probably say that whatever we put in, we're going to want to stretch to the bottom. So I would do that probably as a rule on the slot. So right here, I would target any direct child and say flex 1, which should stretch it to the bottom. Now that's always going to be it's always going to match up, because essentially the design is the card should be the height of the two things next to it. Okay, so that's obviously, we're going to want a purple version of that card, which we haven't built yet. Let's go up here, because I think it's essentially a card like that. I don't know that we've built one of these. Is that a media card? No, that was a media card that we did. This is more like a CTA card. So we can build one of those in the future, but we did the footer that we wanted, which is getting this slot in right here, and the ability to put in any card that we want. You can easily swap CTAs. You can actually have different CTAs per footer now, because the slot is unique per instance of a footer. So yeah.
Let's talk about slots real quick though.
Yeah.
So the way I understood slots before was that main use case was when you wanted to add in post content from like a blog post or something from Gutenberg.
That is a content slot. Yes. Okay. But that's the only function of a content slot.
So that's then they're populating in archives and in singles and stuff. Like that's almost like, I don't know, somewhere else, because I've seen that already. I've seen those instances, but this is cool. This is like this is the main use case for this. It's outside of it's in a component, but then it's outside of that component. You just put it in, so you could manage. You can kind of like customize a component even further in specific instances with the stuff that you want to put in the slot portion of a component. Yeah.
I mean, normally in a component, you're like whatever you put in the component's in the component. Like and if you wanted to change the CTA, it really depends on how much flexibility you want or how rigid you want it to be. It's not like this is the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it right now in Etch, because nested components, we're still doing the editing process of nested components, where you can like edit a component and then edit a child component and still have a good experience, So the slot is the best way to do it right now. But what the slot gives you, because I think, there's going to be situations on this website where, depending on the section of the site you're on, you may want to change the CTA. And if that's templated, with a rigid component where the CTA is baked into the component, that's going to be really, really, really difficult. You're going to need a lot of conditional logic at that point. That's a mess, right? But if you just add a slot, now it's like I can just swap it and it's not a problem. It doesn't affect any other component instances. And it allows me a lot of customization without conditional logic, a web of like conditional logic.
So an example here, this is our index template. If we went over, we created an archive template, it's going to automatically inherit like this stuff because it's at first. And then we could just be like, okay, Christian doesn't want that profile card in the footer on that archive. So we just literally just delete the profile card thing right there, and we just add whatever else in. And obviously then it's a different template set up for a different use case, but it's still the same footer template, or I'm sorry, the same footer component, but it has a different component or a different thing in the slot.
Yeah, so imagine this left side of this footer is fixed. It's like it is what it is. This little part of it happens to be like a swappable part, So like imagine right now that we're on an archive template. We're like, we don't want that one. We want this other thing. And I add like a media card or something. Now I have a media card instead of the card I had before. So yeah, it just gives you a lot of flexibility in that regard.
Sweet.
Okay, so let's add the profile card back in. We'll just save and let that be for right now. Okay.
Hey, real quick, hope you're enjoying the rebuild so far. Just wanted to take a moment to say that this would not have been possible without our series sponsor, BigScoots. They've been providing top-tier managed hosting since 2010, and they're not your typical hosting company. BigScoots owns their entire tech stack, from the servers to the network to the data center, which means faster load times, stronger security, and the ability to customize solutions for your specific site. And if you ever need any help, you can get connected to a real WordPress expert in under 90 seconds, 24/7. And by the way, right now is the perfect time to try BigScoots because they were kind enough to give you, the lovely viewers of my channel, a special offer. If you're a new BigScoots client, you can get 98% off your first 2 months on any of their managed hosting plans. All you have to do is click the link down in the description below and use promo code MJS for monthly plans or MJS annual for annual plans when you check out. Again, that's 2 months of premium hosting for pennies, which is basically no risk. If you've been looking to improve your hosting setup, show BigScoots some love for supporting valuable content like this and give their managed hosting a try today. Now, let's get back to building.
You want to hop over to archives?
Let's do it. Wow, that was funny.
It's going to be this situation right here. Are these just placeholders? Do we know what we're doing with these things?
Yeah, they're just placeholders for now, I think.
Yeah, what are they supposed to be?
I think the idea was, I don't know how this works when we get into categories. The original idea was that it would be my top 4 tools, period. It would be dynamic. There was some way to mark it in Jet Engine, and we would know, like, okay, let's pull the number 1 tool icon, 1, 2, 3, 4, in no particular order. But I don't know how that works with the categories.
So like a featured tool?
Kind of, yeah, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously depend on like what the actual business case of it, or what the actual, the category or whatever. I'm not saying a taxonomy necessarily, but however we denote it. But how would you? I think we already started this actually. I think we already do have a tool archive. But how would you do that? Are those pseudo elements, or are those like elements that are like absolute?
No. Yeah. What we would do is, if you imagine these in a row right here, we would just loop them. So we'd create a loop that grabs the featured tools, and then we would just cap that at 4. Like it would grab so go into the featured tools category. Maybe there's 8. We don't know. But we're only going to lay 4 of them out, and so we're only going to ask for the first 4. And then once it gives us the first 4, it's a situation of positioning them with CSS.
Gotcha. So there's just got to be some way to select what's up there. Either we could do an ordering system with numbers. We could add a checkbox and say this one's featured in the header. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we do already have that. The way we currently have it in the back end is it's like there's categories, and then there's like almost like is featured kind of in each category, or like, well, actually, maybe that's for the categories that are featured. But yeah, the simplest way is I can just add a thing in the back end real quick, and we can just go off of that.
By the way, I just gotta say here, I mean, this clearly we have not made this template area as Mark Szymanski proof. I have never seen this amount of columns before. This is wild. Okay, so we're gonna have to go in. I'm gonna make a note for the design team. We need a Mark Szymanski proof this back end here.
Data architecture guy.
Yeah,
really go overboard with that. This is my favorite part. Yeah. So I think we could query off of like a meta field, right? It doesn't have to be a taxonomy because I feel like it would be.
I think it would be easier if it was a taxonomy.
I'm just well. The only reason I'm saying that is I'm thinking like you have your tools. So then you have meta fields and you have taxonomies for your tools. Specifically, I don't know enough about the rest of the website that I don't know if we're gonna have to use this again or we're gonna have to use it in a different way or if we're gonna have to be like maybe an easy way could be, this isn't very foolproof, but maybe an easy way is like we have a taxonomy for like featured in almost, and it's like okay, featured tools, featured some other area, because like if this is a cool design, right? Like this is a cool hero design. Are you going to want to use that? Do we think we didn't design the whole thing with Nick? So like, do we want to use this same type of thing somewhere else? Like, like on Love or something, and we have a couple icons up there, or is this just the tool?
Well, the thing I'm thinking of is you just have this concept of I've got a database of tools, and some of them are featured and some are not. And I can use featured tools in a lot of different ways. We could make the cards for featured tools purple instead of white or whatever, or like whatever we need to do. But in this case, all we're going to do is we're just going to ask for 4 random featured tools. That's probably how I do it. So when we loop through them, it doesn't matter how many there are. I'm going to ask for 4 random ones, and then we're going to position them.
For sure.
And then if you wanted to go beyond random, because you can add another rule in that's just native WP, which perhaps could be like sticky. So if you wanted top 4, you'd have maybe 10 featured, but the top 4, you could just make them sticky in WordPress, and then we could query only the sticky ones. There's that approach.
The way that I think about it on the grander scale is just simply like, yes, there are, let's say there's, 100 tools total. There are definitely tools that are featured, but then the question becomes like, why are they featured? Like, are they featured because they're the top tools, or are they featured because
they have the biggest? They wrote in the biggest check. I know. How this works.
I was trying to not say that. No, I'm kidding. But I'm saying like, I could absolutely foresee on the holistic. I know we're getting in the weeds on this issue, but like on the whole holistic side of the website, there could be multiple featured reasons. Like there could be like 5 tools out of the 100 that are featured for this reason, and maybe in the tool grid we have them highlighted for that reason, and then maybe on this top thing here that's why they're featured for a different reason. I guess the easiest way for now, we could always change the loop, is just quick taxonomy, just say like is featured, is not featured, and then we just loop those. So
I would probably like the approach I tend to take is maybe go with the simplest solution, and then when you're forced to make it more complex, go ahead and do it at that point. But yeah, that's probably. Let's see if we can get something going here. Yeah. It looks like I completely forgot. It looks like we put at least the start of this archive page together. So that's interesting. This is going to be an H1. All right. And then check out the most recent tools and guides tutorials. Is that the correct? Oh, we don't. Okay, we don't have the copy, but this is correct, right? This isn't a tool. It's the tool archive page.
Yes. Christian, remind me because it's been so long. There's not going to be a thing where you see all the tools. This is the approach right now, like where you go to /tools and this is it.
Yeah,
it's just like the category view, and then they can draw down.
I think that's what we settled on.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So essentially, we got the start of it. Let's do that. Let's go to here. I think what I'm just going to do, even though the container is not I don't know, because this is where it complicates things a little bit. We've got a section intro component, and this is like the only intro that has these floating things. It's like this isn't needed anywhere else.
How do you handle that though, just in general, not just on this project, but I feel like that's something that yeah, it's not designed anywhere else, but could probably be used somewhere else. Like it's cool enough and interesting enough that maybe it would be. I'm not saying we have to do it that way, but like if you were doing this on your own site for at your personal stuff, like I feel like you, especially the way that you develop everything, you use classes for literally everything. So you like, where do you draw the line with not being like, oh yeah, like how do you make the decision in your mind? I'm never using this again. So I'm not that you're not going to use classes, but I'm not going to make it a component. I'm not going to make it. I feel like that's just your personality. You make everything reusable.
Yeah. I mean, we want as much stuff to be reusable as possible. The thing is like, we're in a little bit of uncharted because like no other builder really allows this kind of stuff. Like with this level of componentization. So we've never done it before. Like we've always had to do it the old-fashioned way without this kind of workflow. So we're kind of solving problems that we haven't had to solve before. And so I'm thinking through it in terms of like, if I added a slot to this section intro, because a slot, the good thing about a slot, here's the great thing about a slot. If you don't put anything in it, it doesn't render anything. So I can put a slot in and put in something in this particular intro that's not going to render in any other intro. And that's like what the really good thing about a slot is. So I can go in and do something like slot. And, Nick got us into this situation. You could call this like Nick's bullshit. Nick, like you could blame it on the person as you're doing the development. It's always something I like to do. But I don't know, like what we can call it. You could call it random. You could call it general. You could call it default. I think default is its default name. Until I have a better name, I don't know what I'm going to call it. But let's just do default. Let's come out and let's add the default slot to this particular one, and let's just test it. Okay, so obviously I can put something in it now. And what do I want to put there? So I want to put one of these icons. We're going to also have to think about, like, maybe give me good news about this. Is that these aren't clickable, these aren't interactive, these are just decorative, right? Is that
you can click them and they move around and you have to catch them. No, I'm just kidding. You move around, you got to catch them. Yeah, no, that's the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
They're just there.
They're just there. All right, they're just cute. Okay, that's good. All right, so we'll just put in, so they don't have to be accessible then, which is good. That really helps. So I'm gonna put in a what do we want to call the? Well, I'll just do icon. It's just because this is gonna be section. I'm gonna call this featured tool hero. Featured tool hero. Okay, and I'm gonna do, because you can't really you can't put any classes on slots, right? I can put a wrapper in here potentially. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll wrap in a div. Okay, and we'll do icon group. How about that? And then we'll do featured tool hero icon group. Okay. All right. So I'm technically like in a component, but I have the luxury of working outside of the component at the exact same time. First thing I'm going to do, icon group, icon. Yeah. Okay. So let's do featured. What is it? Featured tool hero, icon. Let's just position it absolute and see where it goes. Is it attached or is it not attached? Okay. So that answers that question. So now we're going to open this section intro, and this won't bother anything else, but we can position this relative. Okay. And then hopefully this all renders the way we're hoping it does. It's looking to me like it's not inside the section intro. I wonder if it's putting it next to it. If it's putting it next to it, that's gonna be another problem to solve. Okay. Yeah, it's like rendering it after. That's unexpected. That might not be the correct behavior. We'll have to look at that. Okay. Let's see how we want to handle this, because that is, well, we'll do position relative here. That'll at least get us very close, I think. Okay. These should be related to the intro. Like their positioning needs to be related to the intro, not related to this actual hero section. All right, so I'm going to show what we would do, how we would do it, but then I'm going to have to ask the team about slot rendering, whether it should render as a sibling or a child, because I think it should render as a child, and it currently seems to be rendering as a sibling. Okay, so let's go to icon, and let's just say that we had 4 of these. Okay, so what we're going to need, we can do this one of 2 ways. We can position... Oh, we could do it. Yeah, let's do it from the icon. That's probably going to be the best approach because you can nth child these. Nth child of 1. Okay, let's go left of 0. And then we're going to do 2, 3, 4. Not 23. 3, 4. And I'm just going to space them apart to get started. There's 1M, or actually, yeah, 1M, 2M, 3M. So we can see them all right? Let's go with top of 0. That's going to put it at the top of the section. Yeah, these all have different, these are all going to have different top positions as well. Okay. I wonder if that seems like... There's some math. I'm not good at math, but it seems like these are spaced out in some sort of like, there's a percentage-based kind of situation we could probably do here. Like 20, 40, 60, 80. I don't know. I'm public school educated, so this is going to be tough. Let's do 20%. Let's just get them somewhere first. Okay. And then we do top. Let's just put them all at the top. And then if we did child 2 was like 10%, it's well, actually it's the opposite, right? It's something like that. So let's go see what Nick actually did. Yeah, I mean, let's rotate them. Let's go tool hero icon. All right, I'm going to say rotate. What does it look like they're rotated? Or actually, it'll probably tell us the calculation.
Or is it the 24? Is it that 24?
Oh, it's this right here, 20, 24. So 24, 18, of course. All right, thanks, Nick. Just random numbers. All right.
Whatever feels good.
Go. Yeah, whatever feels good. Okay, so let's, all right, whatever. We'll just put static rotations on them, then it's not that big of a deal. So minus 10 degrees, something like that. I'm just going to put bullshit in here for now. So these are all done programmatically, which means like I can delete them and then I can loop them. Is this in here at all? Like, is there anything I can loop?
Yeah, I'm working on it. All right. So, all right, let me break some bad news to you. So we can actually get around this for now. But here's the thing. So in my mind, we're actually looping tools, but as you know, we have a crazy data architecture going on here, and we have tools, and then we also have partners. The actual logos for the tools currently kind of live in the partners thing because Christian might be dealing with multiple tools that have the same partner. And I'm actually still thinking about it. Like there might still be, I can't remember what our decision was, but like I looked at the fields that we have and we didn't create any images, like image fields for the tools themselves. So it might actually just be easier just to loop some partners right now. But yeah, so I can't. Christian, do you remember this is a case where it's like I'm actually kind of thinking maybe that didn't make sense in some ways. It makes sense in some ways, and we can still utilize it like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it makes it easier because we could have featured partners, which is completely separate from featured tools in each category. It kind of solves the problem from earlier because we're going to have our category boxes. We could have featured tools that show in each category box, and then this featured partner concept would be disconnected from that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing is just like if you want 4 tools up there, right? Like you want 4 tool logos. Those tool logos, the logos of those things actually technically live in the partners post type. Right. So in order to make that happen, what you really need to do is you kind of need to query tools, get the featured tools, and then you need to do almost like a nested loop to get the relation of the tool to its partner and then pull the logo from the partner.
Well, let's look at this.
Which is possible. Well, but it's just like, that's how you have to do it.
Why? But I'm saying, why can't we have both concepts? We could do whatever we want. we could still have featured tools within each category. Because, okay, what I'm trying to get at here is like, let's say email. I might have 3 featured tools that live in email. I might have 3 featured tools that live in VPN. We only have 4 slots up there. So I already was kind of questioning, how do we determine which 4 get shown up there if maybe there's 20 featured tools across the different categories? So why not let the featured tools be within each category, and then we have featured partners, and that dictates what shows on top?
Well, real quick, we're talking about 2 separate things here. You're talking about what to show. I'm talking about how to show it. Yours is a good point. Like, you might have featured tools in each one, right? Well, the answer to that question is it's going to happen one of like 2 ways. Either it's going to be 4 random tools up there that we just pick out. It's going to be 4 random tools every time, or it's going to be like some sort of algorithmic way of knowing like which ones they are. The easiest way is to just like kind of pick 4 tools.
Why doesn't the tool have an icon?
Tool doesn't have an icon because the way that our data structure currently is there's tools and then there's partners. So each tool, there's a relationship between those custom post types. So partner would be like Hostinger, and then a tool. Yeah. Well, I don't know if this works actually in your case, but let's use your case as one. Like, the concept was like Digital Gravy as a partner, and then Etch and Automatic CSS and Frames would be the tools. However, that doesn't really work well the way that we were thinking about it. That's more of an edge case because those 3 products kind of stand on their own. And something like Hostinger, like Horizons, and then their e-commerce solution or whatever, like those 2 hosting things. Yeah. They didn't really need like their own, icons or whatever is kind of the way that we were thinking about it. So we're just thinking in a different context.
I would do it like, because you want the most flexible possibility, which is like, mine maybe Digital Gravy is like a quote unquote edge case, but it's probably a common edge case where you're going to have partners that are essentially umbrella companies, and they have 4 or 5 different products, and you have more than one tool in their umbrella, right? And those tools are going to need, because right now with the architecture, if that does occur, obviously, like, they can't have 2 icons, and if you relate them, if you use a relationship to relate a company to 2 products, you're going to end up with the same logo on both products, is what it seems like. So I would say that tools should have their own icons and partners should have their own icons. And then you can always use a logic situation of, if the tool doesn't have an icon, we fall back to the partner icon, something like that. That's a possibility. Or really, when you're just designing your loops, if I'm looping partners, I ask for the partner icon. If I'm looping tools, I ask for the tool icon. And I don't have to use any. It's just when I build the loop, that's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, I think that, that makes sense, obviously. I'm just wondering, Christian, was there a reason that what was the instance where we used Hostinger as an example and it made sense? Because I feel like it made sense before, and now when we look at these other cases, it doesn't make as much sense.
I think you nailed it. It was just, I don't think we were realizing that there could be distinctly different logos, but Kevin's products kind of point out that use case. Because our thought was we were going to have a 16:9 thumbnail for each tool, like a screenshot of the hero section, or because I didn't like the idea of putting a wordmark logo on pages over and over for every tool. But yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe we do need tool icon for this use case. I think we do, yeah, because even in the categories, like if I were to feature Hosting or Horizons, technically it has a different icon from the Hostinger logo.
Yeah, I think you're going to run into this situation more than you might initially expect.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do this. I just made some changes. I think we're good here. I don't know if you need to refresh the JSON to see this, but let's loop tools, and there's a meta field called is featured that you should be able to see.
Saw that.
And the new field for the icon. Yeah. So see if we can just roll with that.
Look at you.
That's the only thing I'm good at.
Big data over here.
Tools. All right. So we're going to want to get a quantity argument going. And we're going to want to say that is going to be 4. So that's a good start. And then we're going to want to pull, let's go back to our loop. So there's a couple of different ways we can think about doing this. Is this an array? What are they giving us back? Oh, okay, yeah, it's literally just one. It should be pretty straightforward. Jet engine icon. So we've got item.jetengine.icon. What is it? URL or something that it's asking for. For people that were wondering where I'm looking, it's essentially right here. Jet engine icon. And then URL is what I need to get down to. So jetengine.icon.url.
Yeah, they're just
Shazam.
They're just those for now, but
okay. Let's go inline size of. Let me guess, Nick. They're all different sizes. Yep, they're all different sizes.
They are. 100%.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right.
He likes to test your skills. You know?
And then he boxed them, right? Yeah. So let's go padding 1M. See, what I like doing, this is why nested is so good, because I can target each children individually, but I can also do stuff globally to them. Let's go background of white, border radius of radius, and the padding is going to affect the size is the problem. Okay, it's good enough for right now. He put a box shadow on him, yeah, I'm guessing?
Yep, he did.
What did he make? He made them purple?
It's just whatever the brand color is. Like for each icon is going to be different.
Strip attributes. There we go. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that could get a little. You might want to ask Nick about that. Because if there's any funky logos going on, it might be quite distracting up there. I can take strip colors true off. Right now, all these icons are black, so they're only going to render as black. What I would probably argue for is that you strip them and force them to be your website's primary color. I don't know though, or make them grayscale or something like.
But that's all. That's what that strip colors does, though. When you click strip core attributes, it just say yes down there, and then it just okay. Interesting.
Then it just does magic on the back end.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, but if we have that turned off, we could put in SVGs of etch or whatever, and then it'll just be in whatever the SVG came from. The actual. Okay,
But I would this is what I would do. I would say the color is actually neutral. Something like this, something that's not distracting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would talk to Nick about that. That's ready for a little fine tuning, but at least the bulk of it's done. And we figured out the situation with how to loop these. Now you did say they need to be the featured ones, right?
Yes.
Preferably, yeah. I think they're. I don't know if we're going to see a difference though, based on what I have in the data right now. But yeah,
we can. It's something. I would put that in the fine tuning category. So that works. We're trying to get bulk of stuff done. We'll come back later and fine tune. Okay, so categories. We're going to need some cards again. These are going to be so we're querying the categories, and then what's this top pick situation? How are these done?
Christian, take it away.
Sure. I think.
What's your vision?
I mean, my vision is what I said earlier. So within each featured tool or within tools, they can be featured, and it's just looking at the category. So within email hosting, what are the featured tools? I don't know if we need to get crazy with it and cut it off at 3, or if the list just grows infinitely for the amount of featured tools that I check, or I just say I'm only going to mark 3 as checked, but something like that.
Okay. So it's going to be a loop and a nested loop, and then this one's going to have the qualification of we need to get the featured tool.
So real quick. So there's tool categories right now. There's email hosting, password management, the stuff that we kind of looked at on the front in the bento situation on that one. We had some of those, and those I have in here a meta field for the taxonomy of tool categories, and it's featured. Now that's not tools that are featured; those are categories that are featured. So this view right here is going to show all of the categories, right, Christian? That would make the most sense. Like
Yes.
any
think so,
category that
yes.
you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to worry about that
Yeah.
here. But I think on the front end, I don't know if we did it like that or I'm sorry, the homepage, I don't know if we did it like that or that was what I'm thinking that's what that was for. But on here, there's going to be maybe 6 to 10 categories, just loop through them all. And then this is what I was talking about though. These featured things, we could have just that one field that would work the same, like is featured and it's a check mark, and then it would know because it's categorized in this category and is featured, then we could show it on that thing, like like what we're talking about here. But if but then for the top part that we just did, like that would have to either be a random 4 of those, or we'd have to pick them independently. But this is what I mean is, to me, this is a situation where they're both featured, the stuff that was up in the hero and these things that are in these cards. But, you know, it really depends on what you want on the website, like how you want to feature those things. I know there's a lot of mumbo jumbo there, but that's what I'm talking about. So I guess I'll while you're doing that, I'll look in the back and I'll try to feature some of them specifically in categories, and then we can query we can do the nested query appropriately. Can't remember.
We already have this tool we actually have, because I don't think when we did this necessarily the archive was done yet. I don't remember. But he's using, so we have a tool category card, but this calls for like a different tool category card, right? Like this tool category card is clearly different than this tool category card. Mm-hmm. So we're going to figure out how we want to handle that. And I'm trying now I wish I could compare them like side by side easier. So I'm wondering if there's any, okay, so.
I mean, you could probably make it, I don't know, but like I'm looking at it, there's an image, there's a heading. Like, could you just like, I don't know if we made that other thing component, but is it too different?
It is a component.
Is it too different to do some?
I don't think so. That's what I was trying that's what I was trying to figure out. Because I think we can just do some variations.
Yeah.
So it's like, has media would be, or like has featured image would be one thing. We could just turn off the featured image. If we turned off the featured image, we get to this. And then we'd have another block for the category loop, like the nested loop. And we just have a little button to turn that on, essentially. Yeah. And then we have a card that can be used in both situations. And we don't have to build an entirely new card.
Yeah.
Sweet. Kind of like that. Let's see if we can make it happen. Okay, so we're going to go back to templates. We're going to go to our tools archive, and we're going to come down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a container. We got that as the intro. Okay, and actually, we probably should. Did we add any logic to our section intro the first time? All right, let's come up here. Let's see. Do we have any logic options? We did center H1, but we didn't put any like get rid of this and that and this other thing. Okay, we'll build in logic for that in just a second. But I don't want to build a static intro. So let's get rid of this. And this is going to be the categories list. And then I'm just going to put in a tool category card. We also used container queries on these, so that they change layouts when they're in a bigger thing. Okay, I'm gonna go here real quick and search for lists. All right, I'm just gonna call this, yeah, we'll just call it tool categories list. Display grid template columns of grid 2. We're gonna make all this static for right now. Okay, gap of grid gap. The challenge that we're running into, we wanted this list to adapt based on, because of that bento grid. I'm gonna have to add like an is stacked and like force it to be stacked. In this situation, perhaps. Let's see what happens. Let's get the logic in for removing media first. Tool category cards. Let's edit this component. Okay. So we've got our media wrapper here. I'm just going to add a Boolean, and this is going to say show featured image. Probably good enough. Okay. If I take that media wrapper and I wrap in condition, Then I can just do props dot. Oh, good. It copied the whole thing to my clipboard. And now, just like that, I can just turn off the featured image. So that's one thing down. The next thing I can do is, here's our content wrapper, tool category card, flex div. Okay. Tools list. Tool category card, tools list. Okay. And then I'm going to have a list item. And then what do we actually need to pull from here? So the icon and the label,
name, I guess,
the name. Yeah, tool name. So we're going to go icon and name. Tool icon. Tool name. That's going to be a span. I'm not going to make it dynamic yet, especially because I think we may have some architectural stuff still to figure out. So these... Okay, let's talk about this. This entire card should be clickable. Yeah, I would probably argue against making each tool in here an individual link and then also trying to link, but I don't know. Like, what do you guys want to do?
What did we say before, Christian? I feel like those picks are there.
I was thinking each tool would be clickable. It doesn't have to be, but I don't. The only thing is, I don't love someone clicking it and then getting potentially annoyed that they have to click another button to get to that page. I don't know.
It's probably those individual little buttons there are clickable, and then probably like the thing at the bottom is clickable. So you go to view all email hosting, is that's one button, and then those individual things are a button. And if you click up in the white space near email hosting, I don't know, but that's your call. If you click the header, if it goes to email hosting, I don't know if that's, like if you click the heading of email hosting, does it go to email hosting?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's the thing, is like,
but not the white space of the button, not the white space of the whole card.
I mean, we could do it with the white space of the whole card, and then because you can take this container and essentially elevate it above the clickable area of the card, and then things in here become independently clickable, even though the entire card is clickable.
I mean, if that's like accessible and all the stuff that everyone says, then I think that's probably the most ideal, kind of, in a way, because like if you're looking at those and you have like even the slightest bit of like a hover, whatever, and then on the accessibility side, obviously it's going to read it out to you when you would get to it. I feel like that's probably the best possible outcome.
Yeah, I would agree.
So if I take tools list, essentially, if you position this relative, theoretically, it should now elevate itself above the see the hand, no hand, hand, no hand, which means that things in here can be independently clickable, but we have to change this a little bit. So we're gonna have to put a link inside of here. This is gonna be the tool link, and then those. You know what I'm going to do? Because I think this is probably easier. We're going to cheat and do a div. And that's going to be the tool link. And then that's going to allow me to just drag these in. And then I can just cheat and change that to an A. href equals pound. Yeah, we're getting deep in structure here. Tool category card, tool link. This is Nick. This is the life of Nick right here. This is tool category. I live this life with all the other ones. Okay. Tool link. Okay. Tool category card, tool link. There's so much stuff going on. Display flex direction of a row, and align items to the center. And gap of 0.5 M. Bang. Okay. So give me an example tool name real quick off the top of the head.
NordVPN.
NordVPN. Okay.
Low hanging fruit.
List tool. I'm gonna call this tool item. All right, and then the tools themselves. This is fun. Tool link. Tool item. Tool link. You do want to put the padding always on the link itself, not the actual item. 0.5 M, 1 M. Let's go flex wrap of wrap. I'm guessing these are font size of like text S or something. What did he do? Oh shit, he made them bold. What else did he do? Anything special? Typography? 16? Seems like it's small, right? All right, so we're seeing something different than what we were seeing a second ago because I need to get out of here. Oh, that's right, because we used grid to do these wide variants. Okay, this should be easily fixable, but let's see if we can turn off the featured image. That's sweet. These are not looped yet, so these are just the categories for now, right? I'm just going to get that done. So let's right click, wrap and loop, and go. We want to do tool categories. Okay, so that's going to get us categories. This is where that new object prop comes in, by the way, Mark. So you don't have to fill these fields out every single time. You use the object prop, and it just passes the correct stuff in automatically.
Oh shit.
But that's okay for right now. It's all right for right now. Let's go to here. Let's see what we've got so we can see what we need to fix. Okay, it's essentially this. We need to look at how this was constructed to be when it's in a wide grid like this. What I'm going to do is maybe cheat for right now and go like max inline size of 800 or something like that. See how it stacks now?
Yeah.
Because there's not enough room. One thing we do need to do is we need to add a condition for show categories or show tools. Let's do a Boolean of show tools. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to find the tools list wrapper. There it is. Right click, wrap in condition, props dot show tools, and then save, and then exit. And now we have the ability to show or not show the tools. We probably want that to be default to off. So we're going to default, and the featured image is going to be default to on. Okay, fantastic. Now I can say, yes, go ahead and show the tools. Okay, let's look at what we have on the front end. Okay, is that essentially what these the tools group needs to be before the link? Yeah, before this final
well,
is
there even that link in the Figma file?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
It's let's go.
Oh yeah, I see. Yep.
But why do I feel like are we missing a background color in this? Yeah, we are. Okay. Yeah. Was that fade?
Nick's switching it up with the gradient.
That fade situation. The only place that used the gradient. And then here, see, we had the cards are actually that base ultralight color. Yeah. So what we're gonna have to do is, let's go see where tool category card. Card background is. It's already tokenized, so we can make a switch for it. We can go white, light. Let's make some options for it. How about that?
Sick.
Okay, Nick.
A lot of props, baby. A lot of props.
Fucking Nick. Card background hover.
I wonder why it's lagging there. Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know if this is a Mateo question or the team, but like, is it trying to like do something with all these props every single time you add? Because it's doing it all.
It could be.
I think it's just trying to do almost like re-render the whole thing, not render it, but like almost like rewrite it almost every single time. Because when you type that in there, it like with every character, it almost like physically. There's no like put it in there and then click generate. It just automatically does it with all those.
Yeah,
because everything else seems like it's working good after. Shout out to BigScoots for putting us on a better box here, better setup.
The question is, what were they? Did we? I don't remember doing a background hover on these cards. No, we never did, right? But we have a token. We have a token for it, but I guess we never got to actually implementing it. Okay. So let's go back in. All right. Let's just get rid of this. We'll leave that as the options for now. Card background. I want to switch these because it's even when I paste. Because the first line item is the default essentially. And actually I think the default should probably be what we made the first cards. Otherwise we're going to have to go back and change them. So BG ultralight, and then that would make that white the default for hover, at least for now. We can fix that later or address it later. So essentially the way that this works, the way that we get this value from here and inject it in our CSS over here is with an inline style. So style equals, and we do the card background color, and that's equal to props.card background. And then we're going to say card background color hover, which I wish I could see my, because I'm guessing these. Like I don't remember if that's exactly the correct one. Card background hover. I'll say card background hover. Okay, let's add that, and then let's double check. And I'm wondering now the hover works. Look at that.
Nice.
Boy. Okay. So we want here in this little section, white and light. And then we can add other hover styles later, but just getting these working for now. But now you have the ability to show tools or not show tools, show a featured image or not show a featured image. You can put in what the featured image is supposed to be. You can put in all the stuff dynamically. All right, so let's see. This is going to be static for now. We don't have time to get there today because we're almost out of time, but we can drop in the dynamic data for this stuff. So this is going to be tool categories. So we're looking for the name. It's going to be item.name, and then description. It looks like we're going to need to put in as well. So this is going to be item.name. There you go.
Sweet.
And this is going to be item.description. Great. Fantastic. We probably need to fix this heading in a minute. That looks like an H2. I'm just going to do that right now. That's better. Okay. We need to do some, TLDs needs a description, by the way. We might want to do some logic for if it doesn't have a description, it does something, but okay. Password managers. What is that? This goes to the category name down here.
So yeah, right now it says view all and then category name.
Okay, item.permalink. But this, yeah.
If you go back into the component, that heading just says top picks.
This right here. Oh, yeah. that doesn't change, right? It's static.
I mean, if you want to look at that, I think I have everything set up to do that really, really quick. If you have a second.
So you say.
Maybe. We'll see. If not, we'll leave them on a cliffhanger. But we're looping all the categories.
Yeah.
And then we need a loop right here of tools. So just a tools loop. And then it's the current category. So that thing with the little to get the current object that it's in, the current category that's in. So those tools are just that. Which is a very specific way of doing that I can't remember. And
loop
then
item. Wait, hold on. Now we got to think about this because this is we're in categories. My brain, dude, we've done so much structure shit now. Now I got to get in a database mode. Okay, so cat.
I think all you need is that, and then, but you're also gonna need technically you'd need a meta query to do it right, and it's like the only meta query is featured and is like whatever the hell it's on or true. I think it's just true. Well, you might want to change the actual thing to be not static so we know what we're seeing.
Well, hold on. Tools. And I think cat is, well, this should be as tool. We want that to be different because this is going to be item dot, item dot ID as tool.
There might only be one. So yeah, real
that's
quick.
That's another thing. Let's check that.
Yeah, go into the tool item, like go deeper into that thing and just change it to, so it's not saying NordVPN statically in the component tool item. And then, yeah, like that.
This.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is still static.
Title dot, tool dot title. And then save that. And yeah, I don't know if it's, let me see on my side.
Yeah, I got to think. There's so much inception going on. I got to think about, because we might need to, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of shit going on, but at the core of it, it's literally just one nested loop. So like it's
correct. I think what we need is it needs an object prop because it has to pass whenever you're passing data from a loop that is external to the component. Like there's a loop inside there that depends on a loop that's not inside there. You see what I'm saying? Like, and you need an object prop to pass that into this component. So what we need to do.
Maybe I haven't done it with a component yet, though.
Yeah, component architecture is it's very nice once it's built, but it's for this kind of situation. Like the more complex the components get, obviously, like you can make these components. Like it's cute that it has like a list of tools inside of a list of categories and such, but it does complicate things, you know?
Okay. We can punt this. We don't have to do that right now then.
Yeah, I will behind the scenes, I'll work it out and then we'll get back on next episode and I'll say, all right, here's how we do it. We do an object prop and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, the object prop's newer and I haven't played with it either. So I'm interested to kind of see and play around with that. And we could see if there's some cool ways to do that. So
yeah,
but a lot of good progress here.
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. So we got a footer. We got cute icons. We got this component to have more logic. And we'll be back again for more.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yes, thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed. We will talk to you in the next one.